everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Annette Dion with the Psychic News Network. It is Wednesday, August 25th, 2021, and I am here to give you the news from a psychic perspective. Because, you know, nowadays nobody knows what the heck is going on, so you might as well ask the psychic. Most of us are turning out to be right. I want to apologize in advance for the noise. I have a clunky old air conditioner. It works great, but it's quite noisy, so I'm going to talk loud because honestly I started a video with it off and I immediately started melting. So my condolences to all of those of you that are in even hotter parts of the country. I hope your air conditioners are working well. We will get through this. However, this is the wake-up call that our globe needs to get an end, at least curbing, to the burning of fossil fuels. I was kind of reflecting on that today about how so many parts of the country are heated and overheated, and the world and places that have 120 degrees routinely as a regular thing, it's becoming like the new normal. I know, just growing up in New England, when I was growing up, nobody had an air conditioner. And when I was growing up, we had lots and lots of snow in the wintertime. So if you kind of reflect on what's happened in where you grew up, how the weather has changed over the decades, if you can remember back to being a child, was it like this? No, it wasn't these extremes. We didn't have these extreme wildfires. California is, you know, a lot of it is gone. Cities, towns, just gone, just burned up. So because I am aware, and you probably are very aware too, it takes extreme circumstances to create extreme change. It takes very extreme circumstances for people to take action, speak out, and do what needs to be done. So I do see, the guides are showing me, you know, the domino effect of one thing after another. Let's pray for the people in Tennessee. I don't know what the number was total that ended up drowning and swept away in floodwaters. This kind of stuff was unthinkable several years ago, when I really was reflecting on what the oil industry has done by just covering up the science, that extreme use of fossil fuels creates a warmer earth. When I think about the consciousness that would not let the people know that this thing that they were selling us that we needed for survival, like heat and gas to run our cars, not letting us know the science, and then the science had to come out and the evidence that yes, we are in a potential global catastrophe. Some people might say the catastrophe is already happening. Now, I'm not saying all this to depress you. I'm just laying out the facts that we all know. I do see the Earth's people waking up. I do see these oil companies having to succumb to the pressure of changing their technology. These things are happening. All the darkness that we see is turning into more light, but we are in the thick of it. We are in the darkness. When you look at, switching topics, if you look at what's going on in Afghanistan right now. Now, I just heard, this is just speaking of the darkness, you know, rising to the surface. When I just heard that the Taliban is forcing women to go back to wearing burqas and to not leave their homes. If you can imagine that. I don't think, with the amount of enlightened, intelligent, powerful people that are here in the world right now, with the evolution that we've had happen on the planet, I know we only see all the bad news, but there are a lot more conscious people than there used to be. We have to wake up. What the Taliban is doing is not going to hold. It is not going to be, they won't last. I've been saying repeatedly, they don't know how to run a country. They don't know how to feed their people. They don't know how to keep people alive. We're in a worldwide pandemic. I don't even know how the Taliban is going to stay alive, to tell you the truth. I just mean in terms of being exposed to a pandemic. Do they have health care? Their people don't have health care. The light is being shown on the darkness. We just have to hang on for the really bumpy ride, which is a thing that I said last year at the beginning of 2020 when people ask, like they always do, ask the psychic, what's this year going to bring? At the beginning of last year, the guide said, and I was telling people this, and it's on my videos, it's a big bumpy roller coaster ride. You know, like the old roller coasters, like kind of like my old air conditioner is really clunky, and you're not sure if you're gonna, on those kind of roller coasters, you're not sure if you're gonna like make it to the end. But you know, more often than not, of course, the odds are that on a bumpy, rickety roller coaster, you will make it, but you're gonna go through some real like moments, like, oh my God, what's happening? Should I be here? Is it gonna fall off the tracks? Yeah, that's what it feels like. It's really important to be resilient. It's really important. If you need tools, email me, AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. If I get enough people, perhaps I'll do a class. Most of my classes, actually all of my classes, I do on in a Facebook Live, Facebook private chat room. Yes, I still do use Facebook. It has a lot of functional uses for me. Plus, I want to shine some light in the darkness of Facebook anyway. And that's where Church of Spirituality is too. So if you want to know how to be calm in these times, I can definitely, I can even send you a newsletter that I wrote. Let's take a look at, I know I'm jumping around, but that's okay. Let's take a look at Afghanistan. I know we're getting people out of Afghanistan. I really work hard to not get aggravated by people that are criticizing this administration, because there was no pretty way out of Afghanistan. And the last administration made it exponentially worse when, you know, 45 got in there and was meeting with the Taliban, doing deals with the Taliban that we don't even know what they did, because all that intelligence has been lost. That's my psychic impression. What 45 was doing with the Taliban. But we do know, as a result of their so-called negotiations, 5,000 of the Taliban, of the terrorists, were released from prison. So it's very disconcerting. It's just that there was no easy way out. There are times when there's just, you have to do like the lesser of the evils, of the two evils, which is stay in, which got to be, oh my gosh, we can't just keep doing this another decade. You know, there weren't many options. So they are getting people out of there. They are getting the Americans out of Afghanistan. They are getting the Afghan people, particularly those that helped the United States in that 20-year war, getting them out. And I don't want to hear anybody talk about they have no right to come here. We started the war. The United States started the war with Afghanistan. I am telling you, the way that people talk, like on Fox News, not that I watch it, but you know, it slips through, seeps through the cracks. The United States of America went to war in Afghanistan. We have a responsibility. I mean, if you don't make reparations, they just come back to bite you. You know, we see that that's happening all over the place. We gotta be responsible. Anyhow, let me stop to remind you. Tarot from the Castle. If you go to hammondcastle.org, if you want to learn how to read the tarot, today it occurred to me, it's kind of like being at Hogwarts school, because I just stopped by the castle to drop off some publicity just a little while ago, and it occurred to me that Tarot from the Castle, my class that you can take live stream, go to hammondcastle.org to sign up. It's going to be like being at Hogwarts school, like Harry Potter. Maybe we'll dress up. So, speaking of Afghanistan, this is the Four of Cups is, you know, I always call this card like the not seeing the, I'm just going to say blessing in disguise, because that's how I always refer to this card. It's like, there is a blessing in disguise, and right now we can't see it. And the blessing in disguise is the war will be over. And now, first and foremost, as messy as it is, and I know I was going on before about Joe Biden, because I didn't think that it was the way that he did it was good, because it looked like he did it without a plan. And then when I looked further with the cards, I saw that he had he had either not enough information. I feel like it was missing intelligence about Afghanistan, and that's part of the reason it turned out to be a mess. But it was going to be a mess no matter what. The blessing in disguise, if we can call it that, is that the war is over, and now we have an opportunity as a world to all help Afghanistan. So that's there. This is a Two of Wands. This is Joe Biden really just standing, you know, as he is. Maybe he has doubts, but you know, he's in a very powerful position. When you're in a powerful position, part of that job is to act certain, to not be wishy-washy. Wishy-washy doesn't have a sense of, you know, like taking authority and taking charge. So he's sticking by the taking authority, which I prefer that, because I know that he's meeting with intelligence officials once or twice a day. So, you know, at least he's taking charge. The world, I've been saying all along with Afghanistan, the world is going to rally and help the Afghan people. The world is going to rally and help the Afghan people. Just you wait. The guides are showing me the WHO. I'm picking up on the World Health Organization helping Afghanistan. So that's pointing to tons and tons of COVID. Please, if you are of the persuasion of a person who prays, please pray for Afghanistan. I pray for Afghanistan every single day, and whatever else needs prayers. So I see the World Health Organization playing a pivotal role in Afghanistan, which has to do with the pandemic. I guess the women in the burqas will be safe, huh? Sad to say, safe in terms of, because you can't get COVID if you have a burqa on, because you're not breathing the air. It's awful. It's just awful. It's hard to think about. So I'm getting that in 1 month the situation in Afghanistan will be more predictable. Anyway, I don't mean from a psychic perspective. It's just going to become more obvious. You know, the steps. There'll be steps being taken to make it better. But a lot of heartbreak. A lot of heartbreak. A lot of, you know, a lot of veterans of the war. A lot of U.S. veterans of the war are just really having a tough time. So if you know a veteran that fought in the war in Iraq or Afghanistan, reach out. Do reach out. Okay, I know everything's so serious nowadays, but the world is getting lighter. Annette, how can you say that? It's so awful. It's so awful everywhere. We are in a revolution. We are in a time of tumultuous change. But we can't all just remain on the couch, not being aware, not doing anything. So, yeah, that's where we are. Let me look at my list. Voting rights. I want to look and see if the voting rights bill for the people, gosh, you know, you hear about these things for so many months, and it's like, did they do it yet? What's happening with that? I know, we all go through it, right? So let's look at what's going to happen with the voting rights bill. I mean, I heard the House passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, but let's see what else is going to happen. Oh, these nefarious Republicans! Yes, they are. Oh, the guides are telling me they are losing power. The GOP Republicans that are putting the kibosh on voting rights, I just see their crimes just being completely exposed. Just completely exposed. The intelligence of the United States of America has a lot more than we realize, has a lot more information on these GOP Republicans than we know. And a lot of it has to do with January 6th. They're tied together. The insurrectionists, the senators, the members of Congress that were in on that, That will be revealed along with the big lie. It's all connected by a dark black thread. Dark in, in terms of evil. They will cause as much of a ruckus, these GOP Republicans that are taking away voting rights, they are going to cause such a huge ruckus. A lot of us are going to be upset. A lot of us are going to be crying tears as if the GOP won by taking away our democracy. They are tied together. The insurrection was about killing our democracy, and the big lie and taking away voter rights. Yeah, that's all about killing democracy. So we will be lamenting. We will be saddened by this. But I do see somebody in a position of power, a male, who's gonna turn it around. The guys just told me John Lewis's spirit is working on it. So this energy is representative of that. I feel like I'm seeing an African American man who's not in the spirit plane, but in the physical, who's going to turn this voting rights thing around so that we save our democracy. The guides are telling me it's not going to be turned complete. The voting restrictions will not be turned completely around, but I feel like they're showing me like a wrench in the works. There's somebody in a position of leadership. It'll become clear in the next few days. African American who is going to take a stand against these voting restrictions, and who's going to put a wrench in the works of the GOP Republicans trying to take away our voting rights. And the guides are saying it has to do with the civil rights law, the voting rights law. There's a wrench. There's going to be a wrench thrown in the works, and we will retain our voting rights, but some will be taken away. For instance, I remember voting and I didn't have to show any identification. I remember voting and I just had to go in. I was on the register. They knew my address. I just gave my address. That's the way it's always been. And then I went ahead and voted. In the last election, presidential election, I dropped it in the drop box. So there will be a lot of restrictions. But I see somebody who's going to throw a wrench in the works of these Republicans that are trying to take away our voting rights. I do want to look at the fraudits. They're still at it. It's freaking the end of August. And they're still saying the election was stolen after how many court cases, how much evidence that it was the most secure election ever. I mean, there's nothing they can point to. Mike Lindell, like Giuliani, that weird lawyer person. She was weird. I'm trying to remember her name. It'll come to me. Yeah. 8 months ago. We're on 9 months of this. Yeah, it is definitely the era of WTF all over the place. I mean, everything's peaking, everything's spiking, including COVID numbers. Everything is at a peak. These past few days we've had a little bit of like, okay, there's nothing new. All these problems, nothing really, really, really new. We're just looking at all these problems right now, but don't worry, it's going to escalate again pretty soon. All right, the filibuster. I do want to talk about the filibuster. Are we going to see an end to the filibuster? I had said in the past that I saw the filibuster being thrown out to let voting rights pass. So let's see. I just kind of felt like it would be thrown out for that particular issue. Let's see if that checks out. Oh, I got 4 cards, so let's see. Yes, I get the 2 of Cups. I feel like there's going to be a compromise. Now, I don't know how it works exactly, but I feel like there'll be a lot of limits on the filibuster. I feel like the filibuster will just be not in effect. That's what I feel like on this voting rights. Justice is coming up. It's illegal for them to take away our rights to vote. Hello, it's completely unconstitutional. Let's get things in perspective here. Sometimes we forget about this unconstitutionality. Like I was saying the other day, we need to turbocharge our justice system. Seriously, we need to turbocharge it. Yeah, there's a man in a position of power who's going to succeed in gutting the filibuster, at least for the voting rights. At least for that. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be great. The guys just told me Kamala Harris will have something to do with that too. The Ace of Pentacles, we will get our voting rights. Now, like I said, there's going to be some of the restrictions we won't be able to stop, but we will, for the most part. We will have free and fair elections, and that's relative, right? That's a relative term. But I don't see us losing our democratic rights 100%. We've lost a lot of them, but not 100%. America is really in a place of, we need to check ourselves. We need to check our ethics. If we have any ethics left, I believe that we do. There's a lot of good people in this country. There's a lot of really good people in positions of power. It's unfortunate that the yahoos are ruining it for the rest of us. But there's going to be a lot of wake-up calls with this COVID. A lot of wake-up calls with COVID. A lot of wake-up calls with COVID. That super spreader event in South Dakota, I think I want to look at that. That's not on my list, but I think I want to look at that South Dakota situation. That Christy Nome, there's something not right, This channel is for entertainment purposes only. Christy Nome, I feel mental illness. I sincerely feel mental illness with the governor of South Dakota. It's disturbing. It's like there's nobody home and she's being controlled. That's what it feels like to me. So the super spreader event, the motorcycle rally in South Dakota, plus that rally the 45 had in Alabama, where COVID cases are through the roof, and I think they have no room left in the ICU. That's going to put a dent in this, and the guides are just telling me that's going to put a dent in the Republicans. I mean, citizens. This is so sad. This is so sad. I said the other day, we got to pray for the MAGA people who just have bad information. That they see the light, and let's hope that it's not through death. But that is what's going to be happening. So I'm going to look at first South Dakota, COVID and South Dakota. The Magician indicates that the wake-up call will be all these COVID cases from that situation in South Dakota, that motorcycle rally. And that is going to change things around. It's almost like the universe is working through the hardship and the sickness to wake people up. The Ace of Cups. Actually, a lot of people are going to come to their senses and they're going to get vaccinated in South Dakota. I see like the tipping point in South Dakota where people go, whoa, okay, it's science, not this will be the beginning of them at least going, oh, science, oh, well, maybe, oh, yeah, well, I'll look at science, which was not happening before. Was not. And also in Alabama, I don't even have to pull cards for Alabama. Alabama is going to suffer humongous, I'm getting a really high number percentage-wise of how many people are going to be affected by COVID in Alabama. So I can't even look. It's bad. It's bad. Pray, pray, pray. Intend, intend, intend. Send good vibes to those people. Send good vibes to the people in Tennessee. That is just really on my mind. The ones that were in the floods. The effects of the fraud, I think I did look at that. Weather and wildfires. Let's see if the wildfires are gonna, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on at Lake Tahoe, but I'm getting a sense that Lake Tahoe won't be able to be saved. I can't even say it. It's too hard to say. Let's look at that. Let's look at that. Okay. Yeah, Lake Tahoe. I can't say it. It's upsetting me. Lake Tahoe, I've never been there, will not be able to be saved. This is tragic. Lake Tahoe is like the canary in the coal mine. The guides just gave me a big like, oh, whoa. Sometimes things happen that make us all go, oh, whoa. That's what I'm seeing. There will be a little bit of rain in the west, but you like to put out some of the fires. I saw that many months ago, that in the fall there would be some rain would come and some of the wildfires will stop. They're gonna have to rebuild from nothing. As far as Lake Tahoe goes, there's gonna be some engineering marvels. The engineers and the scientists are gonna have to like get in cahoots and do something to salvage some of the lake. The Colorado River is pretty much drying up. The drought continues. So in the face of this, when you look at big companies like ExxonMobil, for instance, BP, you know, you remember that big oil leak? Was that 2009 maybe? How can anybody ahead of an oil company, for example, just let the earth burn and not do anything to save it and just keep contributing to people experiencing all this devastation? Like I said the other day, it's a different kind of human. It's a different kind of human. It's the epitome of greed and the epitome of evil. It's bad. So those wildfires are going to cause so much damage, but the jig will be up in terms of big oil. The jig will be up in terms of big oil. The guides are showing me, and now this is long range, by 2027. I feel like we're going to be off of big oil. I do. It's going to get that bad. So it's 2021. 5-6 years from now, there'll be an end to big oil. Kind of like the way that coal is phasing out. I mean, we know it's still in the picture in terms of energy, coal is, but it's really phased out. I see an end to fracking also. And I see an end to the tar sands in Canada. And that pipeline that went through that native land, I see an end to that too. So that's some good news. Phew, Annette, it's about time you get to some good news. Jeez. There'll be an end, but it will be out of necessity. And you know, ExxonMobil, they can switch over to renewables. They make it like it can't be done. It's amazing. It's amazing. Of course it can be done. We have the technology. All right, couple more things. I want to see how Kamala Harris is doing. People are saying, oh, she's not doing a good job. You know, she's not a white woman. Well, she's a woman, but she's not white, and she's a woman, and that's why they go after her. Yes, people are that unevolved. Let's see how she's doing. I get good vibes. I feel like she's being treated with respect. She's doing some tough work, and she's actually getting respect, even though, like, I think she's in Vietnam, even though I think China pulled a fast one there. There was a vaccination deal, and she was going to go in and offer like 1 million doses of vaccination. Whoops, sorry about that. 1 million doses of vaccination. That's my phone telling me I forgot to plug it in. And then Beijing or some I think it was China. I don't quote me on this. Interjected and beat her. Cut her off at the pass, and they said we'll give 2 million vaccines. So we're going to see a lot of instances coming up real soon where other countries like China and Russia are going to be, and the Taliban, they will be making a big effort to humiliate the United States of America. We're not looking too good. And now China's invested in making us look bad, and Russia's invested, as always, in making us look really bad. So let's take a look at Well, I said Kamala, so let's take a look at that first. And then we'll look at what those countries have up their sleeve and whether they'll succeed in taking America down. Let's just ask, right? I don't see us top of the list anymore. Sorry to tell you. Okay, this is Kamala. This is the right-wing media. Kamala's just like the right-wing media is just making stuff up about Kamala Harris. And it's not easy. Pray for her. I mean, it takes a lot of courage to be in the public eye. It really does. The little bit of it I've done in my life, I mean, little compared to what they do, for sure. Minuscule compared to what they do. It's a really hard thing to take a stand for the right thing. And not hard because you don't have conviction, because it's the conviction to do the right thing that makes you have the courage to get up there and do it. But when you're standing there alone, taking the daggers, it's not easy. You know, and these people that are really public servants and have, you know, the betterment of humanity first and foremost on their minds, that we live in a society that bashes them it's despicable. It's completely despicable. The Five of Cups, yeah, she's had her losses. She's had things that she can't kind of like backtrack from, but she has a son. She has a lot of love in her life. And you know what we're gonna realize too? Kamala Harris has a lot of love in her life, so that gives her a strong buffer. One thing that we're gonna realize through all these hardships, collectively, is, like I was saying the other day when I was like all waxing, like all religious, not religious, but waxing all spiritual. When it all comes down to it, all that matters is that we love each other. And I know Joe Biden has that. He has love in his life. I mean, his wife, Jill, his children, his grandchildren, even Bo on the other side, and his wife who died on the other side. There's a lot of love coming to Joe Biden. There's a lot of love that Kamala Harris has around her. And that is like Teflon. That doesn't mean it's not difficult. When people are coming at you with daggers and they hate you for doing the right thing. That does happen all the time. We've seen it again and again. Unfortunately, more and more and more in this country. Something's got to give. But, you know, you got to remember, just hug the people around you and be with them and tell them how much you care about them and how meaningful they are, how much you appreciate them, because that's really the answer. Love is the answer. At the risk of sounding totally corny, love is the answer. Take care of your brothers and sisters. All right, that's all I have for you today. Wednesday, August 25th. This is Annette Dion. I would love to have you for a psychic tarot card reading. And if you'd like to sign up for a psychic tarot card reading, it's AnnetteDion7@gmail.com. I really don't have a website that works very well. So, and a lot of people are saying websites are kind of going the way of, I don't know, Blockbuster. So just email me and we'll set it up. AnnetteDion7@gmail.com to sign up for Tarot from the Castle, which happens next week, a week from today, September 1st. Good Lord. Tarot from the Castle, tarot classes. It's hammondcastle.org. If you have any trouble, a couple people had trouble, just email me and we'll fix it. $20 off that class if you sign up by midnight tonight on the 25th. That's all my shameless self-promotion, and we will see you soon, probably in a couple days. It's Wednesday. I'll see you Friday or Saturday. Namaste. Be well. Please share if you can. When I get 1,000 subscribers, I can go live, and how fun would that be? Totally. Love you all. Bye.